People believe what they want to believe, and some feel the truth because they don't want to hear that little voice in the back of their mind saying this ain't right. UN reports are buried in the news. We've got 1 million cousins who sing on the blues, and if they all disappear, who's gonna shed a tear?
Altman. I'm a pharmacologist and part of the freedom movement. I'd like to declare that we have won the scientific debate concerning COVID. The truth is out now, and we have won.
Okay, I just did that interview with Phil Altman. The rest of the interview will go up soon, but let's bring in the cast. G'day, David Thrussell. Major
Evening, Michael. Evening, everybody.
Richard Wollstonecroft, Contrarian
Canary. Look out.
There he is.
And
Trouble
Robin.
Incorporated.
Robin.
Hi.
So,
Evening, Robin.
before we go on, just a few things first. Commiserations for, where is he? Commiserations for Matthew Perry. Could I be any more vaccinated? No.
No.
Actually, no, not anymore. No, that's the answer.
No, that's a definite. I think you've had enough, Matthew. Yes.
It's terrible.
Stop
Sorry,
right there.
buddy. It's terrible, but that's the thing. Now, the other thing, too, I just wanted to show you this I found. I don't know if it's current.
Doesn't he look awful in that photo, too? He looks terrible, I reckon.
Yeah, he looks
well. I mean, with Matthew Perry, he was somebody who had a drug addiction for a long time, and he did have a lot of medical consequences of that. He was in a coma, and I think about 3 or 4 years ago. But I think after that, he pretty much was kind of religiously clean. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there is a possibility, well, that he could have relapsed, and then his body couldn't have taken it, or you just don't know, basically. You know what I mean? And obviously, mainstream media is not going to tell us the truth.
He didn't say anything. He just
asked
the question, can you be any more vaccinated? And we said, no, you can't because you're dead. So...
No, I'm just commenting that, it's going to be one of those ones it's hard to tell what it might have been, Obviously, it was some kind of cardiac event in his, sauna or spa. And the interesting thing is he actually posted a photograph on his Instagram page in the very pool with which he died 6 days ago, which is kind of a bit unusual, because what are the chances of that?
Well, I've got another one. I've got David's a picture here that I found on the internet. I was thinking of David. So I found this, David's favorite human being.
Demon.
Must be
Urari.
The demon.
Well, he's eating
Urari, right?
The babies from Hamas, I've heard, from Gaza. He's ordered fresh ones.
Now,
I just want to point out the word eliminated there. He says they must be eliminated.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Now, I just want to say,
I know what I make of it.
Now, we're not that fond of Yuval Harari. He's an interesting character, but he's also gay. Now, if he does happen to go, like some gay men do, not all, if he does happen to go for, say, a toilet block romance, like, say, George Michael did, and if you happen to be the guy who's a gay guy who's lucky enough to come in and find him waiting for you, when you're servicing him, make sure you do a really good job, because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for all of us. So make sure he gets the memo. Okay? Now.
Right. Okay, I'm not sure what to make of toilets. Moving right along.
He would use a kind of, Epstein kind of service, a Pizzagate service, I imagine, for his interests. Anyway. Moving on.
Anyway,
I'm not sure I want to know that much
now
about
the other one, this is just a bit of funny. Look at this I found, and this is me going. When male and female anglerfish mate, they melt into each other and share bodies forever. The deep sea is so vast that if a male finds a female, he latches on and fuses to her, losing his eyes, internal organs, until the two fish share a bloodstream. And you thought your divorce was messy. And so,
wow.
There's some in-joke.
Yeah, that's something you learn every day. Imagine that. Man. Anyway, let's start with Robin. Robin, how have you been? You've been doing the morning show, and you've also got some exciting news. How have you been?
Yeah, good. It's been a very busy week. I'm exhausted. I just woke up from a nap, actually. So the morning shows have gone well.
No.
Just went to stand in the park this morning. It was a huge one for Dr. Judy Wileman. She's leaving Western Australia and moving to the eastern states. So we're very sad here to lose Dr. Judy Wileman. And I just want to say what a blessing she's been to all of us here in WA, and wish her and Ken the very best moving forward. And the exciting news is I got a mail back from a lady called Jennifer Zhang. Now, she's a Chinese lady that lives in America, and I'm very excited to talk to her about China and all of the different things that China gets up to, which we don't see in mainstream media, which have huge effects on us every day here in Australia. So that'll be coming soon. I'm very excited about that.
Cool. And yourself, Richard, how'd you been up to? Did you get a space for your thing for your?
I thank you for the people who responded. I did meet up to one of the suggestions. I won't say who it is yet. It looks like we do have a couple of venues for Muff by the look of it. Again, if anyone knows anywhere, particularly like a warehouse space would be ideal for in the inner city Melbourne. That's what we're kind of looking for Muff. But we do have a couple of people who are brave enough to put on the 23rd Melbourne Underground Film Festival. So looks like we've got an international guest coming out, Larry Wessel. He's an underground filmmaker from America. He's going to be flying out, and there's going to be some other interesting. I'm organising some freedom movement kind of documentaries. Hopefully, we'll play that film Police State, which is the Dinesh D'Souza's film about how America, is now prosecuting political opponents, like what they're doing with Donald Trump, and people who have helped Trump, and the way that they pursued people who were demonstrating January 6th. Obviously, the election it was definitely dodgy and suspicious, and anybody who protested that day, the FBI has been going after them, like kicking in their doors and arresting them. It's an extraordinary, what would you call it? Arresting one's political enemies. You know what I mean? Like it's something like out of a banana republic. America would never do this.
Using the FBI and everything.
Imagine if they kicked in the door of Bernie Sanders supporters who attended a Black Lives Matter a demonstration. You know what I mean? And they just had to turn up. I mean, many of those got way more violent or way more destructive than the January 6th event. You know what I mean? It's extraordinary what's going on. It's again another sign. I mean, of course, I believe America is in enemy hands. That's why you're seeing all these wars. That's why you're seeing all these terrible things happening.
Okay, moving on. David, how's your week been? What have you got to bring for show and tell?
Look, it's been all right. I've done a few gigs and whatnot. I was out in the Big Smoke last night.
I was there, David.
A late night.
I was there. I had to go to Sparks afterwards, but I was there for the first hour.
Okay, great. Well, I went out last night as well, and it was interesting. I met a chap. I was having a conversation with a chap, and he was a very nice fellow, actually, and he was very much on our page, and he suspected that I would be as well, and very much on our page, like, point by point, pretty much precisely on our page, if I may speak for us as a group.
Yep.
And what was interesting is he had no idea about Cafe Lockdown. He had no idea about any of the things that we'd been doing whatsoever, which I found very interesting, simply because to me, it reinforced this idea that I have that, all this electronic media, social media, blah, 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 is very good at actually separating people and keeping them apart in some ways, So this fellow, who was a very nice chap, he'd never heard of any of the things we'd done, and yet he was right on point with a whole lot of things that we've discussed, which I thought was very, very interesting, So I actually recommended that he watch the show tonight, so hopefully he's watching.
I had the same experience, David, where I met Jim Scott, the muso, who's been writing songs for 2 years. He's got these great sort of songs about the movement. One called "The Crime," which is doing really well. His whole world wouldn't listen to his songs, so he's just been doing them in. And basically, his whole world's falling apart. He was looking to let his wife is kicking him out, and he was going to head down south, just wondering what to do. About at 3:30 in the morning, he had a calling, a spiritual calling, to head north, and he ended up in a free camp with me. And 2 days later, I've got him on a stage, and he literally almost got a standing ovation for his song. So he's gone from one group of people who just didn't want to hear any of his art to us, who basically celebrating the arrival of a significant artist. So it's really, really interesting seeing it, you know, and it's and so yeah, so it's and he didn't know anything about the Shrine, Epic, us, anything at all. Hoodie didn't know, even Hoodie knew nothing at all. And so out there must be lots of people like your friend who you've just met, and Jim and others who know nothing about us. And I think it's because you're right, the algorithms won't let them see it.
Yeah, correct.
You know?
Yeah, it's extraordinary. It keeps everybody in their little community.
In some regards, not in all ways, but in some regards, you have to sort of luck into finding groups of people. You just have to be lucky enough to sort of bump into them, or some coincidence of some kind, whatever it may be. And I completely agree, Michael. I think it is this vast organism, this digital media organism, is very good at keeping people apart as well as connecting them.
Yeah. Now, before we go on, I just want to do things. Something extraordinary happened the other day. I was actually trying to get Max Egan on the show tonight, but he's in Texas and he can't get home to Acapulco because the biggest hurricane, I'll just show you some footage of it as we're going, which came out of nowhere. It was like this happened a few days ago, a mild tropical storm. They didn't even bother to announce it or warn the people. And then that night, this mild tropical storm turned into a Category 5 hurricane, hit Acapulco, and has destroyed it. It. And
another one of these
odd
weather events.
Just odd. They're trying to say that it can happen, but it's the biggest hurricane that's ever hit Mexico, and it's unprecedented that it literally came up from nowhere and then vanished, just blew itself out and just destroyed Acapulco head on.
Well, I think a lot of people on this show, we've had this conversation sometimes before about the control of weather events and extreme weather events. It's one of the ways they're going to try and prove their climate change thing. They seem to be able to create things like this, great heat, and then maybe start fires or an earthquake or a hurricane. I think they have this technology now, and it's obviously in the hands of the very, very wrong people. So, of course, natural disasters are going to happen naturally. Again, this whole the awful thing is you're never going to be able to tell one they created and one that might actually.
That's right, because they're using the element of camouflage, aren't they? We're seeing this with the fellow you rolled the show with, and that's right. By and large, we have our suspicions, but so many of these events are camouflaged from us, and
of course, and that's part of their trick. That's part of their trick.
There's no media. The media aren't allowed in. We actually heard about it on Twitter literally 2 days after it happened. There's been no media coverage at all. This is
that's a tell. That's a tell that something weird's going on. Media. They did this in the Maui fires. They did that where they, had a media blackout. That's always a tell that something weird's going on, because they're kind of like covering their tracks a little. They're like, oh, hang on, that's a bit weird. That's not natural. We better clean that up. You know what I mean? So that there's no evidence.
Just have a think back, Richard, to the past, critically thinking. All the hurricanes that we've seen in the past literally take days to reach the coast.
Of course.
We're all preparing for them, And they're Category 1s and 2s and 3s. A Category 5, I don't believe Category 5s just boom from nowhere. It's not possible.
No, and personally, I believe America is really under attack. You know what I mean? They really want to destroy America as the number one global power. So it's going to be under attack on various fronts, and as many fronts as they can create, including these ridiculous wars that they created in the Ukraine and the one now with Hamas. So, in Gaza Strip. So, it's extraordinary what's going on. And I don't know. I think they probably want China to take over. But when you think about what the destruction of America will mean geopolitically, it's a disaster for every ally of America. You know what I mean? Like, we'll basically be up for grabs. If America really does collapse, that is when an invasion of Australia.
There'll still be people coming for Australia. They're not just going to. Anyway, just before we go on to the main crux of tonight, which is the disinformation bill, I found this too. I thought this was really interesting.
Each electric vehicle battery for a heavy-duty truck weighs 8,000 pounds, and you need at least 2 of them. So we're talking the weight of 4 or 5 cars. And my friends and peers in the industry nationwide who have tried to make efforts to put in, say, hey, I'm going to convert a dozen forklifts to electric, or I want to tee up a facility for 30 electric trucks. There's no power. The utilities come back, the cities come back and say, is this some kind of joke? One friend tried to put in Illinois a facility, tee it up for 30 trucks electrification. The city came back and said, this is some kind of joke. You're asking for more draw than the entire city requires. And just to give you an idea, 30, 50 trucks, that's like a 5-6 megawatt application. The factory that makes the trucks is a 2 megawatt factory.
Yeah.
Just mental.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think one of the great tales about, the renewable energy was the actual Michael Moore documentary, The Planet of the Humans. He is a really far left guy, Democrat, supported Biden, supported Hillary, even though he really didn't like either of them, but he would never support someone like Trump. But he really made the point that renewable energies are useless. They're not going to save us, and that they use more carbon than just using carbon. And this is a far left guy saying this. And this kind of thing really flew under the radar with people because it's a really good documentary.
Do you remember his documentary, Planet of the Humans, which I agree, I thought was really, really interesting. It got nuked off YouTube at one
goodbye.
stage. Yeah, that's right. Yep, they nuked it. It's like, sorry, buddy, you've stepped outside the bounds of the Overton window. See you later, pal.
Bye. I know. And you'll notice he's kind of vanished after that. He hasn't made another film. He hasn't made anything.
Been very quiet.
Yeah, he also had a health
Another thing to bring up.
I actually heard from Michael. He's really enjoying his holiday in Guantanamo Bay, and he thanks everybody for the postcards. And not to worry about him. You'll hear from him in a decade or two. Yep. No problem.
Now we've got an ad here from one of our sponsors. We've got a sponsor tonight. So this is the ad.
Yes, you can leave your hat on. You can leave your hat on. You can leave your hat on. Get over there. Turn.
You look a bit like Alan Rickman.
Caps are available there. There's this, and just go to cafelockout.com. There's a link there if you want to buy some caps and help support us that way. We do have another affiliate person coming on. I've just got to put that video together. But what we'd want to talk about is the misinformation bill. We've been told now that the government they don't want to do it right now, but they're fully committed to do it. And they want to start it on the 1st of January next year. That's when it'll come in. Now, Cafe Locked Out now, I don't know if you're aware of this, David, but we have how many streamers, Robin? We've got about 12 or 13 people streaming to it from all around Australia now. We've even got Mark Batt from Townsville. He's doing great work. Richard puts up his things. Jason Miles, Tom with the What the F Boys, William Bay, Paul. I mean, and
it's a whole network.
It is becoming a network. And so basically we are now, and of course, Ryan, we are now at the forefront of this disinformation bill. They're coming for us. That's why I'm calling us the Canaries. And what we're thinking of doing is when the government starts to debate it, we're thinking of going 24 hours. And John Larder is interested. I'm going to reach out to the others and basically going 24 hours, not just to Australia, but to the world to say we are the voices that our government is getting ready to silence. And I think too, I was going to put this out to you guys, that I think we need to all get on the same page when it comes to the language. And I was actually thinking from the economic point of view, because the amount of bureaucracy they'd need to silence us all is going to cost a fortune, and our country's broke. So yesterday we had 2 doctors on who did a debate: plant-based diets versus carnivores. It went off. It was a great debate, and we're saying that this is an economically cheaper way to deal with misinformation, is to reignite the art of conversation and have discussion and debate. That's what I think one way going forward. So forget the moral point of view, which is huge, and actually say, even from an economic point of view, it's not worth having us all silenced. But anyway, put it to the floor. I'll start with David.
Okay, I think that's really interesting. I do see the advantage of constructing different arguments, slightly unexpected arguments. And I see the advantage of constructing what I would describe as actually very straightforward arguments, that bypass, in a way, these blockages. I understand what you're saying about the moral aspect. I actually deeply understand that, but that's,
me too.
that is a blockage for people. It's like a blockage in a sewer pipe. Sometimes these arguments reach points where you can't go forward. So I understand the value of constructing different arguments that can be had that won't hit these obvious impediments. So I think that's very interesting, actually.
What about you, Robin?
Well, it's interesting you opened up there with Harari and his language there. Because Sky News was reporting, I think it was just 9 hours ago, that Thomas Mayo is saying that they didn't lose the voice because of a bad idea. They lost because of misinformation. And I know myself and Ryan, and we've talked about it as well, that one way or the other this would have been used to push this bill through. The real concern of mine, and I have to say a 24-hour streaming of the truth is fantastic. But the real thing that concerns me is that, we had that short period of time where the public could make submissions about the exposure draft, the misinformation bill. But the real problem is that this isn't a referendum and the public don't get to vote. So even though we've been given the illusion of informing the exposure draft by making a submission, because I don't trust the government at all, I don't think it will inform them. And they'll just push it through, David. They will. I'm positive.
Oh, I'm shocked, Robin. Shocked.
It's actually in a democracy where basically, I know the moral argument, we have shrines everywhere to people who died for freedom of speech. It's actually an act of war upon the Australian people by its own government. That's what it actually is.
Yep, that's where we're at.
It's an actual act of war, and the
Aboriginal politics.
Yeah, and now with Mayo, you should have had fucking debates, mate, instead of doing your little condescending ads of how stupid we are.
And the real disgusting thing is that
had serious debates. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, sorry. The real disgusting thing is that now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh no, off you go.
Look at the Voice. I mean, we beat the Voice. The Voice was a significant victory for the people. They went into the polling booth, and when there was no cameras to watch them, they all basically. What they actually wrote was "fuck you" to the government for the last few years. That's what I really believe. It was a "fuck you" from the government, and we beat your $400 billion campaign with all your unions and all your celebrities with gaffer tape on 110 signs, turning 110 to no. The people won because the people don't want to be treated like serfs.
They definitely have weaponized this Aboriginal politics, and I mean, in Victoria, there's rumors that there are kind of Aboriginal cultural inspectors. How do we ever go from let's maybe help the Aboriginal communities in rural, like Northern Territory, Western Australia, because they have a lot of issues with alcohol and child abuse. Why don't we help them? To actually having Aboriginal activist groups visiting farms and saying, "Oh, this is Aboriginal land. You've got to pay more tax, or your property is forfeited, or you can't climb the Grampians, or you can't do this." I mean, this is what we voted no to, and they're all going ahead with this bullshit anyway. It's fuck off.
Right. That's right. Which is
and
is
I do agree. I do agree. I think the voice is really interesting because I do think, and we've said it before, but I think it's worth saying again, that is really the first opportunity that people had to express their confidence or otherwise in the government, the media, and the corporations, and it was a resounding vote of no confidence in those three institutions. A
beautiful
and I think
no.
That's really, really interesting. And of course, they hate that, and of course, they can't wait to crush. Ironically, it's all very ironic, isn't it? They can't wait to crush the actual voice of the people who resoundingly said, "We have no in the government. We have no faith in the media. We have no faith in corporations," and they can't wait to crush that authentic voice as soon as they can. It's quite dystopian,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's extraordinary, isn't it? It really is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I think the point's good, Michael, that this is yet another, and we've had a few, to be honest, but this is yet another declaration of war against the population. Why the hell, explain to me in simple layman's terms, why the hell people can't have different opinions and express those different opinions? Of course, as we know, the term for a different opinion these days is disinformation. If you decode all this language, that's what disinformation means. It means someone with a different
opinion.
That's what, I mean, how else can you define it? You can't really define it any other way except, you've got the wrong opinion.
That's right. Well, that's what's last night in this debate. I mean, Dr. Pay, all he eats is meat and a few little other things, but mainly just meat. And Dr. Fitzgerald is a plant-based diet, and he's been on that for years. Both very, very passionate, very clever men, totally opposed in some arguments, and they agree on others. But it showed we don't need the government to protect us from each other. Mm-hmm. And to give you an example, Azaria Chamberlain. When Azaria Chamberlain was going this, the whole country was debating, and I was a waiter then. Every table they were debating, did she do it? Did the dingo do it? Everyone arguing, and we didn't stop each other coming for Christmas. We didn't cancel each other. We actually just debated it out and then still remained friends and got on with our lives. Mm-hmm. So we don't need the government to protect us like that.
It's really interesting. Australia used to be a country. Australia used to be a country where you could have a debate. I mean, as I'm somebody who's of the right wing, and I used to get invited to left wing dinner parties all the time, and I was almost like the special guest. They would love to have me as the right wing crackpot who would kind of cause trouble at the dinner. Yeah, exactly. To cause trouble at the dinner party, to upset, and then they'd spend the rest. Oh, Richard, how can you say that? And blah blah blah. But then many of them would.
You're
enjoy.
So naughty, but I do like you.
That's exactly.
Just going to Robin. Robin, you're very outspoken, even though you look like butter would melt in your mouth. You actually are very outspoken. And how are you taken? Because you challenge people in your own beautiful way. How are you taken by people? Are they scared of you, or do they actually debate?
Yeah, well, I think people generally stay away from me. They don't like to have conversations with me because I don't mince my words anymore. That's for sure. Just on this discussion and debate, and about them being afraid of us doing that. Not only that.
Go, Josie.
We need to be really concerned about propaganda. We always talk about other countries being subject to propaganda. We are as well in Australia, and the level of propaganda is just off the hook. And you were just talking about renewable energy. All of that is propaganda, and everyone
it's all lies.
Line and sinker, you know. So
it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's way expensive. It's like draining the national purse.
I'm going to go one step further. I think it's designed not to work. It's designed.
Yeah, of course, it's designed. Of course, it is. Yeah, it's designed to suck money out of the economy and to make everybody suffer economically.
Richard, just let Robin finish out of politeness. Robin, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, so my point is that most definitely this bill is a huge concern, and they're going to push it through anyway. But I think we really need to bring people's attention to the propaganda that we are subject to as well. You know, they're all concerned about the truth getting out to everyday citizens. What about the propaganda we're subjected to by the government, the MSM, so on and so forth?
I mean, that's the disinformation and misinformation. It's what we're fed on the fucking news every night.
Guys, the irony of ironies, so many ironies in our world these days. One of the great ironies is that guess who has immunity in the disinformation bill?
Politicians.
And the media. Ta-da! What a surprise.
What it could be.
The two greatest sources of disinformation in our lives, in the entire landscape, the two greatest sources of propaganda and absolute crap are the government and the media, and they have immunity.
They're exempt. Of course.
They're exempt. What do you know?
Well, one that's clear proof that they're behind it because they want us silenced because they see us as a threat. I mean, we were talking the other day. I was talking to Altman. Say one of my rants has just hit 500,000. Now, I'm not doing that just to brag, but the thing is that costs me nothing. And for the mainstream media to reach 500,000 people, they're probably spending $1 million doing that. And I did it for bugger all, maybe the fuel to get to the...
They don't get those numbers, mate. You know, that's the thing. The mainstream media, you know, they don't get those numbers, you know.
Yep.
It's
well,
extraordinary.
in some ways, it's not in all ways, but in some ways, they're losing the debate, actually. They're actually losing the debate.
By not having one, David.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. If you can't turn up, you can't win. Hello?
Yeah.
You know, like, yes, all right, it's really basic stuff. You don't turn up, you don't get to play, you know?
Yeah.
So they're losing the debate. And I have to say, I want to point out that I saw someone's comment before a while back flashed past, and I thought it was a very interesting point. I too remember, I can't remember whose name it was, but I too remember debating classes in high school, right?
Yeah.
You know, we used to have these debating classes.
Yeah, I was a champ. I did that.
Guys would formulate their arguments. Can you imagine having a debating class in a high school now? Can you imagine? We can't talk about this. No, you can't say that. No, that's off limits. No, that's absolutely unacceptable. You can't say that.
Well, I think they do have them, David. And what they would say is, you know, do we need to take drastic action on climate change, or do we just need to take action on climate change? That's how they do it. So there'd be one group saying, well, we need to take drastic action. And the other one would say, well, yes, but we need to be responsible with the action we take. So that's like the festival of dangerous ideas.
For a while, Richard, you have me. They don't have the
my
other side
favorite.
Now. They just have the one side now. That's it. It's just a one-side debate, and it's and remarkably they always win. But
big bunch of masturbators.
Yeah. Do we need a disinformation bill now or next week? Debate.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, some say we need it right this second. The others are like, you can wait 6 months. You know.
But the thing is, g'day, Steve. But the thing is, though, this is aimed at us and to everyone watching. If we seem to have this cult following, which we respect. We're very moved by it. When I've had people coming up to me going, "Oh my God, I love the Goat Show" and stuff like this, which we've been using now for ads. But the thing is, we're it. If once we're gone and they silence us, Australia, you are on your own. You are on your own. You're going to be living in yourself, too scared to speak in case whatever can happen to you. This is it. My thing, there's two things I think we have to do. One is we have to start, instead of waiting for the government to move and then react, we have to start first. And that's why I had that debate last night. And we're going to try to see if we can have some more debates to show that we can do it. And also, we're up for any ideas from the audience of slogans. We need simple slogans that say why you don't need freedom of why you need freedom of speech. One of the economic reasons is we are fucked. Okay, we are so broke. We are going down into the gurgler, and when that happens, when things are really, really tough, you have to work on problems to try get the country out. And the only way you can work on problems is to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to talk freely so you can identify problems and fix the problems. And so we need free speech. Free speech is essential. The only reason we are so we have been so prosperous as a country is that entrepreneurs have basically created our culture, and they've done that with free speech, identifying problems through free speech, fixing them. This whole groupthink now is the journey into just basically grinding to a halt.
I mean, it used to be that people.
It's a good point, Michael.
It used to be.
It's a really good point, because propaganda will destroy a nation. It will destroy a people. If all they get is propaganda. I mean, look at the Soviet Union. Soviet Union is the perfect example. You know, they were surrounded by propaganda. It was all lies. Oh, the rations, the latest chocolate rations have gone up. No, they haven't. It was all fantasy. And of course, eventually, what happens is that your propaganda and your fantasy slams into reality. In some point, it will slam into reality. So for the Soviet Union,
it's called hyper-normalization when that happens. Hyper-normalization is when everyone knows it's a lie, but you go on living it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to accept, well, this is all a lie. We all know it's a lie, but we have to keep going anyway. And that was like the last 10 years. Sorry?
That is like that famous Solzhenitsyn quote. We knew they were lying. So, that's what it's called.
And they're still lying.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're heading. I mean, look, we're already there. We talk about climate change. Bullshit. It's bullshit. We all know it's bullshit.
It's freezing in Victoria. It's still freezing. It's like fucking November in like a day or two.
And so we got that's bullshit. The COVID, it's all now. We've won, as Altman said, we've won the science battle. So all the thing about COVID, the vaccines, all bullshit, all pure propaganda. Where's it got you? A lot of you are really sick. I mean, I talked to someone the other day whose daughter goes to school. She's never taken it. But in the school, her teacher has heart issues, and 70% of the children in her class are constantly sick. Yeah.
It's actually very sad that many of the obedient are getting quite ill, and you're beginning to wonder, are they beginning to question their decisions? Because you know what I mean? Like, it's just strange. The obedient, they're the ones, and that's what's terrible too. It's like the cabal is punishing the people who went along with it. You know what I mean? That's how they feel about you. So if you actually did the right thing and did what the cabal said, you're going to die. Well, not everybody, obviously, but like some of them are. And it's like, that's how they reward you for going along with their bullshit?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I said about Yuval Harari.
There's a simple reason for that. It's because they hate people.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's stupid strategy, because Havar wants us exterminated. And I said back in a post, well, here's a bit of advice, Ferret. If you're going to attack us, maybe you shouldn't poison your own army first.
And think about that, Michael. Think about what it is. It's poison, right? They're putting poison into people. It's the old well poisoners. You know what I mean? It's like, this is something that's been around for a long time, like in history. There have been well poisoners. There have been people who have poisoned wells in towns, and people have died. You know what I mean? It's like, the general, just for the ill will of doing it. You know what I mean? Just look into that. Google that little chestnut.
And mRNA, let's be honest about mRNA, because Phil Altman does a great talk about mRNA in the interview that's going to go up tomorrow. But to make it simple, this is mRNA. This is the hubris behind it. Now, imagine Leonardo da Vinci is just finishing the Mona Lisa. He's just got a few more things to do. And then you let the kindergarten said, no, don't worry about it, Leo. We'll get the kindergarten kids to fix it. Come on, kids, with your fingers, finger paint it. I mean, that's how stupid it is. the DNA. You have no idea. You change this hormone or gene, whatever. You have no idea what you're doing. I mean, it's just insane. And you know it's a gene therapy. It's very common now that it's a gene therapy. And we vaccinated everyone, the kids, everything. And it's coming to the realization that the government, for whatever reason, whether they are just stuck in their own delusional world, are not actually working in our favor. And we've seen that with The Voice. We all voted no, and they're pushing it through anyway. What is that politician in England? We brought it up last night, but what's his name? Brigand? The one that did the COVID debate.
The guy who spoke in Parliament over there.
Yeah, with an empty Parliament. Empty. 6 people out of 600. You know? And yet the crowd behind the glass was just, you know, it's an extraordinary Britain,
I mean,
an extraordinary time.
I agree, it's extraordinary, but it's also very straightforward. It tells you who they work for. It tells you who they work for, and that's certainly not the public. Okay. It tells you that the boss has said you're not allowed to be there for that conversation. Okay. One way or another, whether it's whether they get a phone call or whether they just know by osmosis, by instinct, they know that they need to stay out of that discussion and they just evaporate themselves, you know. But one way or the other, it shows you precisely who they work for, you know. And what, you know, one of the things that I'm so suspicious about government, I'm you know, deeply suspicious of the state.
Are you, David?
You might
Really?
have
No.
Yeah, no, you might have picked up on that. Yeah.
You're
yeah.
suspicious
Oh, you
of
guys
the
are pretty
government.
sharp. Yeah, no, really. I know you're pretty sharp, and I think you might have picked up on it by now. I'm highly suspicious of the state. And one of the reasons why is because the state is always up for sale to the highest bidder. It's like a sort of empty mansion that is just up for sale to the highest bidder, okay? And the highest bidder tends to, it's a structure that's built there, but it's built to be corrupted, and it always is corrupted. It's for sale to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder really does not have our best interests at heart.
Well, I keep an eye on the...
You go, Rob.
So, Michael, I keep an eye on the Department of Aged Care on YouTube. Yes, they have their own YouTube channel. They don't get many views, but I'm one of them. And so they put out a video this week for, obviously, aged care, had a few different people on there, and they were talking about the new changes to their policy, so on and so forth, to do with aged care and people living in aged care and what they do. And you can see these people talking about the changes and, you know, talking about the masks and talking about all this stuff. And they're so indoctrinated, you know, these people that work for the government, and the government, again, peddling, here's the word, propaganda, and everyone that's working for them. And this is just one department, you know, one department. They're all peddling it. And they're continuing to poison our most precious elderly citizens here in Australia, you know, and they are not ashamed, and they make videos about it because it's for your health, you know. So the level of propaganda, again, indoctrination is just rife.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Of
Do you
course.
actually think,
I mean, you know, for a long time, the government, whatever thing you want to call it, I mean, I even hate using the word. It's just a facade. It's a facade. It's like a puppet show. You know, it's just all the politicians. It's just like a puppet show that, you know, the hands of Gates or Schwab or whatever, you know, ugly creatures that we don't even know about, just go into the puppets and direct them with money, with cash and influence and power. It's just a puppet show, the whole thing.
Yep.
There's one guy in Queensland, I think he's the health minister. He was the one that was calling us oxygen thieves. And I saw him doing another one about vaccine hesitancy. And I just want to say to you, sir, Voldemort wants his face back. I was just looking at you. You just look like Voldemort. I don't know what it is. But there's, but do you think, and this is to Richard as well, that the whole system is basically now in self-protection mode? That's why the courts keep throwing out anything they don't want to hear.
Yeah. I think it's definitely
just finished. They've screwed up, and they know they've screwed up because the data is the deaths are going up, the birth rates going down, and we're so broke. And now it's instead of coming clean, let's protect ourselves. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think it's definitely, you see it happen in America. It was like, when they accused Trump of, saying when Trump said the election was rigged, they're like, oh, how can you say that? And then they built like a kind of giant fence around Congress, like the kind of thing you would do if you had just done a coup. You know what I mean? Like, we've done the coup. Now you're not going to be able to get in because we've now built we're basically living in a little concentration camp around the Senate now. You know what I mean? It's like extraordinary. And the media is just going along with it. I always find it fascinating is how do they know what they can and can't talk about? You know what I mean? Like, because they all seem to know. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think they can tell, and I guess the gateway is they're part of if you're part of the privileged elite. To me, it reminds me of that show, The Hunger Games. You know what I mean? There was like a kind of totalitarian regime, and there was this kind of upper class bourgeois, gay, everyone in multicolored, everyone had a lot of privileges, a lot of food, everything. And they were the ones who had to just basically push the regime's message. And they sort of knew what to say, and then there was the great unwashed who they would select people for the Hunger Games from. And, I thought that was rather prescient because if you look at the elite in that film, it's exactly the elite we have right now. This fabulous, people are starving and there's like, oh, look, what are you wearing? Who are you, Versace? You know what I mean? Like, people are starving. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care about the fucking Met Gala. You can stick the Met Gala up your fucking ass.
There's, I agree. There was.
But what do you really think?
No,
well, I think they're a bunch of fucking vampire cunts.
but
take the gloves off, mate. Come on, don't go so softly.
I'm going to say it again, though. With Albanese, this is our prime minister, right? Now, he says he comes from working class.
He's not my prime minister, mate. He's not mine.
No, but hear me out.
Hear him out.
He's got the country's prime minister. We say this every week, but basically, we have a plane load of people dying every 3 days. That's the excess death rate. I've never once heard him mention it. We got vaccine injured people everywhere. We got all these other issues going on, and we never hear anything. And he's crying because he didn't get his little voice across. It's just disgusting. I just don't understand. Where is he watching? Can't he see what everyone else?
And think about this, Michael. Obviously, what just happened with Matthew Perry, like if you Google Matthew Perry vaccine, already there are articles saying, oh, Matthew Perry's death has nothing to do with vaccine. Like, it's too early to tell whatever the hell happened to that guy. So, but instantly, the propaganda has begun already. Instantly, it's there. It's in it. There's a lot of sites have that story, and they say, oh, we're scurrilous to make. First of all, we are speculating. We don't know for sure, okay? That's all we're saying. We're not being, like, morbid. Or like, it's like, oh, could it be this? Shouldn't we look into it? You know what I mean? Instantly, it couldn't be. He used drugs or, he lived a fast lifestyle. Okay, it might be true. And in some cases, that might be the cause of death of some people. But, it's like the desire not to look into it is extraordinary. And it's the default thing anytime anybody young dies. Oh, it couldn't be that. And if you look at all the people who've died young, died suddenly, there's articles. Oh, it's not that. It's definitely not that. And it's like the default position, and it's extraordinary.
It is. It's absolutely unbelievable. And there's something here about.
Hey, I wanted to go back to the point you were raising about the media just a moment ago. I think it's a really interesting question, because they swim like a school of fish. Okay, they turn on a dime. They know where they're allowed to go, where they're not allowed to go. They know instantly. Okay, and I do think partly that's a sort of a class ideology thing, an instinct thing. They know where they're not allowed to go. Okay, and they don't go there. I also think that the intelligence agencies have a big part to play in our media. Okay, I smell the coordinate. Sometimes the stories are just too coordinated, and I really do think that essentially the mainstream media is pretty much just a front for the intelligence agencies. And look at that. We've mentioned it once or twice, but look at that Jack Van Tongeren stuff that I pointed out once or twice. The Nazi bomber guy in Perth, right? Those articles, to me, those articles on the ABC website are just beamed straight from ASIO headquarters, okay? They probably just faxed them straight to the ABC. They've got these, one of those Van Tongeren articles had these incredible 3D animations of the unfortunate Chinese restaurants that were bombed, but they had these incredibly expensive looking, no resources held back whatsoever, 3D animations of the bombs going off in these Chinese restaurants. I mean, incredible amount of resources deployed to what I think are,
and you'll notice articles like that, David.
I smell ASIO or some intelligence agency. I smell
like
them
that too.
all over.
I've seen other articles also about that group. There's articles like that about that group of neo-Nazis who are like, up around the Grampians at one stage and stuff. And those articles actually have credits. I don't know if you look at the bottom of the article, because normally it's like article by maybe one journalist or two. No, it's like reading a movie. It's like research. These people, producer, special producer, executive producer. It's like, what is it? I'm watching a fucking movie? You know what I mean? And you are watching a movie. You're watching a fictional news story. You know what I mean? And that's how you can tell too when the cabal is doing like a big operation. You look at September 11. It was like a massive blockbuster. It was like a Broadway. They had all the pizzazz and show, and it was very similar to what happened in Israel recently when they came in on these kind of flying in on these things with it was like
very dodgy.
It had a Hollywood flair. It had Hollywood production values, and that's when you think, hang on, mate. Maybe Hollywood is involved in this. It's the same with the ISIS videos. I remember ISIS started making these videos of beheadings and things, and you didn't have to watch it to there, but you could watch the video leading up to it. And it was like it was shot by David Fincher. Or some top director, like Martin Scorsese had flown in to, pick up a camera and you'd be like crane shots. I mean, when does ISIS have a crane? You know what I mean? This is Hollywood production values. You are watching propaganda. It's extraordinary.
I'll show you some of our propaganda.
I agree. I saw those alleged Hamas videos of them on the paragliders, and they were so slick. And I actually watched it with one of the kids, and I went, hang on, aren't they? I mean, they've got no resources. Hamas would have no resources whatsoever, yet they're making these incredibly slick videos of, and they're shooting paragliders in the air from drones or other aircraft. They've got these aerial shots.
And now of course, Israel's going into Gaza, right? Which is the genocide, right? And there's no footage of that at all. Occasionally, if you watch Arab media, you'll see what's happening there. I saw some video, and it was like people walking around in like some kind of horror movie with covered in blood and covered in soot. And it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I was like, Christ.
Back to those paragliders, because we were saying you can't just, I've never done a paraglider. So if you suddenly want me to fly over into a hostile territory all loaded up with ammunition,
I know,
and I've got to I'd have to learn how to fly it with the ammunition. And so they would have had to fly around Palestine practicing. Wouldn't that have stood out to someone? I mean, nothing makes sense. But I just want to show you this, David. We shot this at our... Watch this.
Terrible.
And they had
Whenever you're ready.
aerial shots.
I know, aerial shots.
I'm just going to show you this, David. We did this at this. We had an event here in Sydney. This is Dr. Phil Altman, who used to work for Big Pharma, and he asks the audience a question. Hopefully, you can hear it. Whenever you're ready.
I'd like you to stand up if you've been vaccine injured or you know of someone who's been vaccine injured. Wow. Look around. Have a look. Thank you very much.
So we had 140 people there, and all about 5 stood up. So yeah, it's quite extraordinary. We're ashamed we didn't do one task. Stand up if you know someone who's died just of COVID. Be interesting to see how many would stand up for that. But yeah, I agree. There's so much bullshit going on at the moment, and I think that's why The Voice the victory of the voice was so significant because the propaganda is not working on the people.
It isn't, yeah.
They can see through
Yeah.
it. We're not
That's why they have
idiots.
to go
We just
harder
don't
and
know what to
harder.
do about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
David said it would be rigged, and I think he was probably right. It probably was rigged 5%, but it wasn't rigged enough because
They
I
couldn't
think
rig it that
that
much. Yeah.
exactly. So like again, it was like if it was going to be a landslide, no, they weren't going to be able to stop it, and that's obviously what they got.
Yeah. And I heard stories that the council was going around taking down the no posters, basically saying, it's not authorized. So on every level, the state was doing everything it could to get the yes vote across, and the people said no. So in a way, we're almost like at a civil war at the moment, but it's not a violent civil war, but it's there. It's the people, 60% of the people against the government.
It's the elites.
Goes, we don't like even what's that Muslim guy on that project? I mean, he was just calling us all ignorant and racist, And I don't like you because you're from another country. I just don't like you because you're a condescending piece of shit.
Yep.
And so it's got nothing to do with the color of your skin, mate. And
I mean, you look at someone like I mean, there are many people in the freedom movement who are, look at someone like Rukshan. What an incredible, job he's done, like
Absolutely.
documenting, and everybody loves him. Everybody listens. It's not a racist movement. It's ridiculous.
No, but he gets called a racist. Avi is over in Israel at the moment doing this. No,
well, that is a bit odd. I don't know what the connection to the freedom movement and bombing Gaza is, but anyway, that's a bit odd.
I'll tell you something extraordinary about the freedom movement. So I'm interviewing Professor Altman today, or Altman, Dr. Altman, who used to work for Big Pharma. Now, the man is self-made, but he used to be the part of working with the TGA, and he's extraordinarily well off. And there's no status anymore in the freedom movement. At these gatherings together, you've got people who are pushing shopping trolleys, talking with doctors, esteemed doctors, and in the past, these people wouldn't meet. And I don't mean the bad way, their circles wouldn't meet. But in the freedom movement now, you don't know. And there's no sort of status. It's egalitarian, is that the word? It's actually quite a beautiful thing. And everyone's respected. And the respect that they have now is that if you're still on our side now, you've stood up against the biggest propaganda attack that we've ever faced in our lives, and it hasn't worked. And
it was the same with the voice, Michael. Because look at the propaganda, all of Australia. I mean, it wasn't just people in the freedom movement that got the whole, yes propaganda. Everyone in Australia got more than 6 weeks, probably 6 months of hardcore propaganda, and 60 to 70% of Australia said, "Go fuck yourself." And it totally is the voice of the people. It totally is the silent majority. And, I think people have had enough. And, I imagine they're, sitting there thinking, shit, basically democracy's turned against the government,
Well, their argument was,
you better just ban disinformation. It's a nice piece of timing.
Ban the No Goat Show. Then maybe everything will be all right.
But their sales pitch for The Voice was basically, if you vote no, you're a bad person. You vote yes, you're a good person.
Yeah.
And that was the same sales pitch.
I mean, we're adults.
COVID. It worked for COVID. It really did. But
it did work, yeah.
No enemy gets 2 Pearl Harbors.
Yeah.
That's what they haven't learned.
Yeah.
We killed monkeypox. We killed The Voice. And now, as a country, we have to destroy this disinformation bill. We have a moral obligation to those who came before us and those who are coming in the future to actually defend freedom of speech down to the hilt. We cannot let them get away with it. I don't know how we're going to stop it, but we have to try and give it everything. And that's
on the No Goat Show, we go against it every week. We do our bit every Sunday night.
With battle fatigues, see if we can get army helmets and stuff, and with the front line. So.
Maybe we should get uniforms. I've been saying this for a long time, gang. Let's all get uniforms and let's get someone in the military to teach us how to march. And then we can march in formation. The government will really shit itself then.
They've got to crop that down now and put it up. That was because another freedom fighter had the police turn up at his door saying, "We've got intel that you're basically training an army." And he's like going, "What?" But that's how insane we are. These people
It's crazy.
are clutching on to their dwindling power, and they are dangerous. And we're not dangerous. We're just holding on to what we love, which is our culture, our freedom, and our country.
Imagine what things
Anyway.
would be like if they didn't have all this power of censorship. Imagine what things would be like, because we're smothered under a vast, vast machine of propaganda and censorship. Okay, we're doing the best that we can, and I understand that, and I appreciate it, of course. But just imagine for a moment if it all just collapsed, what things would be like. I mean, without that massive machine of indoctrination, humankind would be very different. Things would be
of course,
different.
and like these kind of discussions, as I said, when we grew up in the 70s and 80s, David, you would have on people like us on talk shows like Q&A, or you would hear alternative opinions, and actually shows like talk shows used to really look forward to. They would look for people who had actually quite diverse opinions, and they would love to sit down and have like a rabbi with somebody from Hamas and just say, go at it, because they knew it was good ratings, right? But there's this whole thing, you can't upset people, you can't do this. And I think that's bullshit. We need to upset people, and we need to get people talking again, because the Australia I grew up in, that was what our country was all fucking about, and that's what it should be about again. And we can do it. We can stick this.
That's right. I mean, if just even the journalists, if you just actually, and you're thinking, oh no, we do the right thing. Really, show me one debate between the people who didn't want to take the jab and the people who did. In those 3
just one.
years, there was not one debate.
One.
You journalists had one job: protect us from a government going rogue, not join their fucking choir. So it's bullshit. You absolutely failed. And that's another thing. We're actually toying around, because they call us indie journalists, but I'm sick of that, because that makes us sound like second-class journalists. But in actual fact, the other journalists are useless. So we're thinking
journalists.
Blacklighters. And blacklighters are like what they used to search for opal in the desert, but also for cum stains in murder scenes. But anyway, it's like searching for the truth.
I don't want to search your van, Michael, that's for sure, with one of those lights.
I might pass on that.
I do not. Mind. I don't want to search your van, that's for sure. I think it's going to glow. It'll be like ET, phone home. And on that note, it's all over.
Look, I think Robin's struggling for oxygen up there.
I think I'm struggling for
it. It's time for us to.
Robin, just take a breath. Just take a deep breath, Robin.
I'm triggered.
To find ourselves right now. The reason I played Altman saying the science battle is over is for a very important thing. The science battle is over, but the cultural war has begun. We have to shrug off the old songs, the voice and all this. We need new music. And I've got so many people sending me songs now. We're just about to play Paul Seal's new song. We have loads of people sending us music, poetry, art, anything, short films, anything you're making now. We are in a renaissance now, and we have to make it happen. And I'm going to tell you now, if
we've got Muff coming up, Melbourne Underground Film Festival, of course. Absolutely. And if you got a flyer for that event we're doing over in South Australia, can you whack that up?
Oh shit, yeah, no, I don't. There's
all right. Well, next week, put it on next week.
I'll get it up next week. So that's with me, Richard, and
Dan. All right, I got to run, guys. It's I think 9:00, and I got to head off.
Yeah, no worries. See you, Rich. Bye. But I just want to say, keep sending your songs in. I've used a few of them. And we're trying to get them together into not an album, because no one has CDs or DVDs anymore, but we've got these credit card things that Wendy from the Deplorables found that actually store like USB things. And you can have little things on the front, printed stuff. I don't have one on me at the moment, but we'll be going to selling those at our gatherings with the music from the musicians on it. And moving forward, the other thing too with this event that we had and any events in the future, stop live streaming them. If you want to come down and enjoy the experience of being with like-minded people, or as we talk about things, get off your ass, get down to the theater. It's time for the artists to rise. Never been a more important time for the artists to rise. Yes, I believe art is the deepest soul of the voice, and our souls are in trouble, and we need the artists to navigate our way forward. David is a perfect example of some of his incredible songs. But this is what we have to do now. The Renaissance is here. The cultural war is here, and we can win it. We can win it. So that's all I had to say. David,
well, they're clearly frightened of us, aren't they? Well, yeah, just the simple stuff. You know, they're on the back foot in some ways. You know, I mean, this disinformation bill, you know, it shows you that they're you know, they're trying to kill a fly with a jackhammer. You know, I mean, as we know, we have essentially no resources. We have no state infrastructure. You know, we don't have the ABC's $2 billion a year budget. We've got, you know, 2 rubber bands and a box of matches, basically. You know, there you go. You got a little furry Muppet on a stick down there. You know, I mean, we got nothing, you know, and they got everything, you know, and they're still terrified of us because the only thing we have, and we know it, is the truth. And they don't have that. Okay. So, you know, exactly. There you go. It's official.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it is.
They're trying to kill a flea with a jackhammer. And I just hope that they miss with their jackhammer and it goes straight through their stupid own foot. Thank you. Good night.
And do you know why we're having success? Is everyone associated with Chloe, and the same with shows like Stop the Rot and Club Grubbery and all those other ones. We're selling authenticity. We're just ourselves, and we're all groping through the darkness trying to find the truth. And Australians like it. They admire it. And that's what it is. And you're selling with all your fancy gear. You're just selling bullshit. And Australians, we've had enough. Robin, you have the last word, girl, and then we'll play the song.
Oh, yeah, just have a lovely evening, everybody. And don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget about yourself because we're so busy doing things all the time and blah, 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 blah. Don't forget about yourself.
Okay, that's it. Okay, this is Paul Seals'
Just
new
wanted
song.
to add about the media there, you know. Just wanted to add about the media just for 1 second. Look, let's be honest about it. Pardon my French, but they've been, you know, polishing a turd for decades, okay? And they've polished that turd because it's a lie. You know, this is what they're doing. They're polishing the lie. All they do is sell us a lie always. They've been polishing that turd for decades, but it's starting to get pretty stinky around here. So give it up.
Oh, and thank you to everybody watching us on Rumble. Rumble again. You're always beating Facebook now as this great monolith dies, but we're still here because the only one where the comments work. But as soon as Rumble fixes that, see you, Facebook. Okay, this is it. This is, I believe it's called, let me see what's called. It's called Rise Like Lions. Sorry, Paul, I've been busy today. I'm going to put his thing up now for his website. This is Paul Seals. I met him in Queensland. Man's got an there he is. Man's got an incredible voice. And he's at the forefront of musicians now trying to write about things that matter. So keep sending him in. The songs coming in are amazing. And I think once more and more musicians see it and they think, I want to have a crack at that, I think we'll have better and better stuff coming along. And I think we actually could start something very special. So good luck to us all. David, thank you for coming on, brother. Robin, gorgeous as always. Good luck with your show this week.
Thanks.
And here we go. Good night, Australia. We're still here.
Rise like lions from your slumber. We need you now in great number to stand in pride and hold the light. Speak truth to power in this fight. We are the many who challenge the few, who lust for control over me and you. Call rise like lions.